So last night, as you know, the government of Alberta put together a number of measures and a number of restrictions on our activities for the next 4 weeks. This was necessary. It was critical. It had to be done. And I know it's tough. And I know a lot of people are questioning, well, what am I going to do about my own life and my own family and Christmas? And a lot of business owners are questioning, what am I going to do now? Will I be able to come back in January? This is tough. It's hard on all of us. But remember, there's no economy without health. There's no Christmas with empty chairs. And so ultimately, we had to do this. And I'm glad that we've gotten to the point where we're doing it now. I believe that the measures before us, if people follow them, will be sufficient to flatten the curve and get us to the point where we can get more and more Albertans immunized.
You know that the province has approved our request for our level 2 peace officers to now be able to enforce under the Public Health Act. I want to take a moment just to thank the province for their consideration and support in approving this request. And based on the new restrictions that were announced last night, I believe we're going to need the extra help. So what does this exactly mean for the City of Calgary? This means that we now have over 100 peace officers in Calgary Community Standards that can support the Calgary Police Service and Alberta Health Services in making sure that there's compliance with the provincial health orders. This includes having 15 business license inspectors who can enforce restrictions in businesses across the city, and 75 peace officers who have the ability to enforce all the restrictions under the health order. This has also allowed us to have complaints sent directly to Calgary Community Standards in order to take the burden off of our police service and Alberta Health.
Our philosophy and Ryan's philosophy with his 100 officers has always been the same: education before enforcement. The last thing they want to do is take out their pen and write that ticket. But there's been plenty of time for education. And yeah, sometimes people are going to make a little mistake. You know, I don't remember if I said this in a press conference, but last week I went to pick out some takeout from a local restaurant, and I got one foot inside the door when the owner of the restaurant kicked me out and said, no, you don't walk in here without a mask. You're the mayor. You should know better. And I realized, oh my gosh, I'd taken the mask off in the car and I'd forgotten to put it back on. So I went back out and put on my mask, and luckily Ryan wasn't there to write me a ticket. But I don't think he would have done that anyway, because that's not what the point is, right? The point is that there are people who very well know what they're doing is wrong. They're getting a thrill out of doing something that is wrong, and they're flagrantly putting other people at risk. And we're not going to stand for it anymore. It's so frustrating that this poor information is being spread. I've heard everything from we're covering up flu deaths in Calgary by calling them COVID deaths. Not the same thing, not the same test. The reason there's very little flu is because people are staying home, washing their hands, and wearing masks, by the way. To completely lies about how many flu deaths we normally get a year versus how many COVID deaths. And so I just encourage everybody, and this is exactly what I said to the kids who asked me about this. Number one, if anyone ever uses the term fake news, it's because they've been listening to or about to sprout fake news. Number two is use the skills you're learning in school. Be a critical thinker. Check the data. Ask questions. And if something sounds far-fetched, then it probably is far-fetched. And by the way, if this is a grand conspiracy, well, no one's let me in on it.